thank you, all of you, for being here today, students. We are so grateful that you have made the choice to be part of this program and to plan for your future and your success. And all of our mentors, thank you so much for being here and being faithful and being interested in the future generations and setting them up for success. So today we are going to look at this amazing cookbook, and I love looking through cookbooks and just, your mouth starts to water as you look at these amazing pictures. Now, truth be told, my cooking and baking never ends up looking like these amazing pictures, but we can always dream. So today we're going to talk about making these pancakes. Now, if you haven't had your breakfast yet, you might not like me very much as your stomach starts to grumble and you're like, oh, those look so delicious. But we're going to talk about how to make these amazing pancakes. When I first came to the US and I was teaching in a public school, and I was asking my students what they knew how to make. And my students were like, oh, we know how to make pancakes. So I said, okay, how do you make pancakes? And they said, well, you go to the freezer, you open up the freezer, you take out a pancake and you stick it in the toaster or in the microwave. And I'm like, what? That's not how you make pancakes. Because real pancakes you make from scratch, and they're so delicious and they're so fluffy. So I have given you, well, actually the tech team has given you, some of you, some steps to our pancake recipe. So different ones of you, I would love for you to chime in and let me know what steps you have for making pancakes. So who can give us one of the steps?
This is Miss Sarah.
Hi, Miss Sarah.
Hey, and I'm ready to tell you. I'm hungry. Okay. And I want to welcome Kayla. Is it Kayla? Kayla to our first meeting. Kayla Murchison. So glad you're here. And anybody, I can't see everybody. I was trying to, I'm tech savvy, but I can't see everybody. I hope Maddie is on here because she said she was on. Anyway, in a medium bowl, combine the flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt.
Beautiful. So we have this, I'll just kind of, can you see it? Is that good?
Yep.
In a medium bowl, combine this. All right, so we're going to stick this on our board. We've got one. All right, who has another one?
I have one.
Yep, go ahead.
Can I go ahead before you, Mr. Eric? Thank you. So I have placed butter in a saucepan and melted over medium heat.
Okay, great. Love it. All right.
Sarah, Maddie is here.
So we've got placed butter in a
Thank you. I
saucepan.
just can't see everybody. I will take it.
All right, Mr. Eric, what do you have?
I have one that says, put the skillet on the stove and turn the temperature to medium.
Or medium high.
It could be medium high.
All right, who's next?
And I've got one that says add milk, eggs, and vanilla to dry ingredients and stir until blended.
Great, who's next?
So mine says, and pour some batter into the skillet.
Okay. And there should be one more. Is there one more?
Must be Laurie. I didn't hear Laurie.
No, I was the add milk, eggs, and vanilla. I think
Oh,
Steve is the
Steven.
next one.
Watch for those little bubbles. That's when you know to turn the batter.
That's right. Okay, we have one more?
Maybe Stephen got knocked off. I think he was having problems.
All right.
Okay.
He's on mute, but I don't think he can.
Okay. Let me do hers. Steve's cook until both sides are golden brown.
All right, so if we can look over here, if I was going to start and I want to make these amazing pancakes right here, I'm like, I just want them now. My mouth is watering. I'm so hungry. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, in a medium bowl, combine my flour, my sugar, my baking powder, my salt. That's good. Now I'm going to place some butter in the saucepan and melt it over medium heat. Then I'm going to put the skillet on the stove. Would that work? Then after I put the skillet on the stove, then I'm just gonna add some milk and eggs and vanilla into the dry and blend it all together. Then somehow I'm going to then pour that batter into the skillet and cook it until it's golden brown. Would that be a successful pancake?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, that would be a really sticky, burnt mess.
Or it will smell eggy.
Eggy. It might smell eggy. Either, it's probably gonna smell bad, for
Yeah.
sure. Because the order matters. The sequence of how we put this together matters. So who can tell me what should be the first one? What have we got?
Pastor Liz,
Yes?
hi, this is Katina. I think before you start anything, you have to make sure that you first have all of the ingredients.
This is true.
Good.
That is total wisdom. We just tried to fast track it and have a little bit of a less thing. Like I missed out on the bubbles, which was a great point. But so out of these 6 things, what needs to be first?
Start mixing ingredients.
In the bowl.
Right. So this we,
Combine the flour, sugar, baking powder.
yeah. So that we had that in a good order. Now what should come next after we have all our dry ingredients together? And then what needs to come next?
The wet ingredients.
Right. Then we take the wet ingredients, we mix them all together, and we blend them in. Now what do we need?
Do we need the stove? I mean, the skillet on the stove?
Right. We probably need to switch this order. Because if the skillet wasn't on the stove, then how can we turn it up to medium heat?
Yeah.
So we mix our ingredients, we put our skillet on the stove and turn it up, warm it up a bit. Then we're gonna melt some butter in there, pour the batter in, cook it on both sides. So the order, the sequence of how we add these things, it matters. It matters to having a delicious, scrumptious, fluffy, fill your belly, maybe regret it later kind of pancake, right? And so it's true in our life also. Now it's important that we remember our handy dandy Etch-a-Sketch, that as we are doing things in life and when we realize we maybe made a wrong turn, and we're like, oh, it doesn't mean that you just have to throw it all away, forget it, my life is worthless. No, it just means you shake things up again, you clean out the skillet, and you start again. Because it's never too late. We serve the God of greatness, of grace, and He's a God of second chances. And so He gives us this ability to kind of shake things up a bit and start again. And so in our life, we need to be thinking about, we talked last month and the month before about what we want to be where we see our life in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 60s. And so as we think about this, we also have to think about the sequence of the steps on how to get there. Now, sometimes in life, we get kind of thrown a curveball. Something happens. And so that's when we shake things up a bit and say, okay, I didn't plan for this, but it happened. And it doesn't need to destroy our life. We just have to figure out how to correct what needs to be correct or work through. Sometimes we go through hard things in our lives. Like maybe we lose a loved one and it kind of sets us back. But it doesn't have to destroy our whole life. Or things happen where we fail a class. I have an amazing testimony of failing school. And I didn't think I would ever be really anything on the education level because I just kept failing. I kept failing. Schoolwork was really hard for me. And I just couldn't figure it out, and teachers couldn't figure me out. But because I didn't give up, and I had people in my life like you have with us and with Cyril and the mentors that just kept encouraging me and helping me, Then I went on to university and I was able to get several degrees, and now I'm a doctor. I have my doctorate, and it took a lot of hard work, but I didn't give up. And so I want to encourage you, no matter what kind of things happen in life and disappointments, that don't give up. Keep trying and keep working towards it. But the sequence matters. So in our life, as you're thinking about what career you want, as you're thinking about what you want your life to look like, take some time, and even if there's time with your mentors today or with your loved ones, your family, talk about, how do I get there? How do I become successful? How do I have a fun retirement and able to be like, you know what, all the things are paid for, the house is paid for, I can, enjoy different aspects of my life. How can I be able to take my whole family on an amazing vacation when my child turns 13? Thinking about these things in the big picture, the sequence of getting an education, then getting a job and in your field, having a career in your field, then to the next thing of, maybe it's time to get married and settle down and then start a family. And moving toward these sequences, actually the data shows us that this sequence of education, career, then marriage, then children, actually is a sequence for success. And the data shows it across the board. And so I just want to encourage you to think about the sequence that you want your life to be in and start planning it, because when we have goals and purpose, we can move towards that.
Excellent, Dr. Liz. Actually, in the college onboarding process today, we're talking about the sequence
Great.
of, what are the steps that our students needs to do, because that sequence that you talked about, like, putting, mixing all those things and adding all the ingredients and putting them in a skillet to first warm up and then putting all those ingredients. That's exactly how we need to pace ourselves,
Yeah.
even in this college onboarding process.
Do I think it's pretty amazing that you did not know what I was teaching on today.
Right.
Mr. Cyril did not know that I just kind of surprised them with, guess what, we're doing a recipe and we're going to talk about sequencing. And I didn't know about the next things that you guys are going to be talking about. And Cyril didn't know. But here's a little thing. This is just put a little seed in there of God knows what you need in every season. Yeah. And He brings people into your life to strengthen you and encourage you and to give you these little seeds and these little nuggets along the way. So I think that this is pretty amazing how
Fantastic.
this got set up today.
Yes, exactly. So now at least, we know that this is the kind of, pattern that we need to follow.
Yes.
And like what you talked about, Dr. Liz, that, the order of doing things matters.
Yeah.
Even in every step. For example, we have a culinary class that we're going to be doing, and that ingredient matches exactly to what Laurie is going to talk about. If you want to become a chef, and you need to make sure your order of cooking matters.
Right.
And the thing is, a lot of times the kids don't know, Dr. Les, about what are the first steps. For example, we have one kid that Ms. Renee is working with. He's finished his 12th grade, and he's looking for going into college. He didn't even have an aspiration to go to college.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, I know that Katina is working with one of them as well. They didn't even know what are the next steps that are involved. And what we want to say to you as a student, that you want to go to a college, you want to go to a specific field, it cannot happen, at the last minute.
Right.
We cannot do this like a sprint. We have to do it like a marathon.
Yeah.
The life choices that we make is so important that you need to have a certain order.
Yeah.
And like what Dr. Liz talked about, sometimes we will make a mistake and we have to come back and correct them. But if we have enough time to correct ourselves, then it will make your choices go much easier.
Yeah. So
go
with
ahead.
that, there's something that my dad always taught me, and I taught to my kids about. because sometimes it gets really stressful for young people. They're like, well, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of your life. Start with something. And because if we have a point where we want to reach, it's okay if that point ends up changing.
Right.
Like when I was a child, I wanted to be a professional singer. And so that's what I started working towards. I started training and doing all of that. But then I also knew that that might not work out because that's like a small percentage of people that become a superstar professional singer. So I also started working towards getting my teaching and being a teacher. So I volunteered and helping with kids. So I, was working towards different things. But
Right.
we always need to have something we're working towards because the ship needs to start moving in order to steer it
Absolutely.
in the right direction.
Absolutely. Half of what you're talking about, Dr. Liz, is there in the session that we're going to be doing.
Great.
But that's the point. Like, that you are making is very critical, Dr. Liz, for choosing a college or even starting a business. I had one time one of the students that went to college came to us and said, after 1 year, Mr. Cyril, college is not for me. I'm going to start a business. I said, okay, sure. What do you have in your hand? She said, I want to be inner healing, something to do with like a new age movement. They have taught these kids how to, press on certain parts of the body and then you'll start to heal. All those are good. But the thing is, she didn't know that she has to go rent a place for their customers to come in. She didn't know she has to pay the rent until the customer starts to pay her.
Yeah.
She didn't know that she has to raise money to buy the equipments that the customer should be lying down on before she can start to treat them. There's so many things that we may miss.
Yes.
And it's okay for us to go to a session like what we have with Mr. Steve and Randy to just like talk through because a lot of kids have this passion to go to college, but going to college is not the only
That's right.
possibility that we have. You can be a plumber, you can be an electrician. Every job is needed, every job is important. No job is lesser than the other. Every job brings in value as long as you do it with joy, with the happiness. That job that you're doing, it is not about the money, it is about the satisfaction that you have to enjoy that journey. So today, Dr. Liz, that's what we're going to do. Thank you so much for kickstarting this. This is a new experiment that we're doing with our students, which is basically making this as an online career fair.
Yeah.
We've never heard an online career fair. We've always had you have to go to a building and there will be different rooms where you have to go and listen to some of the people who have succeeded in that. Now what we have done today, Dr. Les, is this. We have created a separate virtual classrooms. Okay? You as a student or a volunteer, you don't really need to worry about muting this line. We have figured out that part, how to go. As long as you click on the link that is on the chat, go ahead, look at the chat, and you're going to find 4 links on the chat. One of them is, to do with the IT. If you want to become a career, don't click on any of these links yet, okay? Listen to everything before you can click on it. So the first one is IT career. I have a great respect for my friend Eric Standring. He's working for Wells Fargo. I have more respect for him and his skills on data. I learned a lot from Eric Standring, 25 years ago. And he's there today with us, to teach our kids, what it means to analyze the data. And we also have Dale on the line, who's done a lot of work on IT. And they are pouring their heart and, helping us to do, what do we do next? So I'm going to let Eric or Dale just to give a quick glimpse of what they will be learning today on their career session.
And I'll ask Dale to lead us. I just wanted to say, Dr. Liz, how impressed I was with the way you tied getting out of education with the support, or troubles with education with the support of your mentors. Because it took me 10 years to get through college, and I actually didn't do anything with it. So I'll give that to, I'll give that to, give it over to Dale on tech.
Yeah, well, you beat me by 5 years. It took me 15 years to get my degree. But I definitely understand that there has to be a certain sequence. But if things get out of sequence, you can there's a way to get back on track. So, but coming over into the IT breakout room, I'm gonna give you some insights into how to get into the IT field. There's a ton of IT jobs that are available, that are out there. And I'm going to let you know how, if you don't want to necessarily get a 4-year degree, there are certifications that you can get, that you can even start working on now, that'll help you get a job in the future. So I'm basically going to, Eric and I, we're basically going to just kind of give you our spills on what it took for us to get in, to break into IT, some of the various jobs, because it's so vast within IT, and just what you need to do to be successful. So we're just going to share our stories and just have an open conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dale. And also, if there is a volunteer out there, a mentor out there who wants to if this is your area, you can still go into that IT room and help the kids. I know, Miss Sarah Jackson is one of the IT persons that we have in our team, and she wants to learn more about this. So sometimes it will be good for you to go into one of these sessions. The second one on the list, if you're looking at the chat, right, it's talking about like the business entrepreneurship. If you want to start a business, don't go jumping out of the college and say, I'm going to start a business. You have to go to school. You have to get educated. You need to have the know-hows and the business acumen for you to do well in business. So we have Mr. Steve and Randy, Mr. Randy on the line. Can one of you give like a brief on like what the kids are going to learn today in your session?
Steve, you're on mute.
And Randy?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Steve. Mr. Randy's going to help me out in the breakout.
Miss Laurie, what are we learning today in your session?
Yes, mine is usually people assume that culinary is a chef in a restaurant, but it covers such a big range of jobs. Catering, if you want to get into catering or own a catering business, you can even work in the schools. So if you have children, you work around their hours, so you're still able to raise your children, but also build a career and retire from it. So it's way bigger than people assume it is.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think maybe even like a food truck.
Yeah.
You could like have an
Right.
awesome adventure
Right.
and
That is-
start a food truck, and
Yes.
that's a thing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
is
We just came
Right.
from a vacation spot, and everywhere I went, there was a food truck, and they were selling coconuts and mangoes and making stuff out of it. The last one is college onboarding. This is very, very important if you're going into. It doesn't need to be like a 4-year college. It can be a 2-year trade school or a 1-year technical school. It doesn't matter. You still need to put an energy behind, what it takes for you to go to college. Mm-hmm. What do we need to do to apply for a scholarship? What do we need to choose the right subject, right college? What is important for me to go to college? You need to know what are the key ingredients, like what Dr. Liz talked about. This is the ingredient list you need to have. You cannot throw a chicken if you're making a pancake, right? You just need to have the right ingredients in place for you to make, if that's a cake that you're making, you cannot throw like a gunpowders in there to make it spicy, So you just have to have the right set of ingredients. That's what we're going to talk about. And also, we're going to talk about the sequence in which you need to put these ingredients into place, And writing essays is like a critical part of it. Not only your education, the colleges are looking for a full 360-degree view of you. You cannot post any negative comments. This is one thing the colleges are doing even today, right now, which is they're looking at your social media pages. So you cannot post, a picture with not properly dressed. And the language that you use on a social media, you cannot use abusive words online. They're looking at every single thing as they're trying to choose. This is what, if you want to go to a good college, the college is making a vested interest in investing on you as you come into college. My daughter went to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and it took her nearly 8 months because she not only took a GMAT, she took all the exams necessary, and then the college actually called and interviewed her before giving a seat into college. Wow. Right? And so some of the prestigious schools that we want to get into, they require that you have done the homework. I gave this example last time as well, that there was an essay topic. The essay topic that we write down has to be unique. You cannot plagiarize your essay. It has to be unique. And when you leave your essay by mistake on your cafeteria and someone picks up that essay, reads it, they should know this came from Susie. They should know this came from Jake. They should know this came from that person because they know this is what you talk about all the time, right? It has to come from your heart. Someone asked in that essay, what would they have done differently to Hitler if they have a chance to help him before going to school? Or they didn't say even school. What would they have done differently if they get a chance to help Hitler, right? And the girl wrote that she would have given him a seat into that liberal arts college that he was looking for in France, right? If only he had a chance to go to that liberal arts college that he was denied, he went on the raid to take every image, every art, everything, and he was destroying it because he was angry that he wasn't given a seat in a liberal arts college, right? So it has to be unique, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about in the college onboarding. So those are the 4 sessions. Now you can see on your chat, the 4 links are there, right? You can choose one of those links and Miss Navia is going to let you into that room and she will also mute this top line. So we'll see you in the breakout session. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we will send you the invite. Miss Sarah, hold on for a second. We will send you an invite for each of you to come to the graduation event next week. It is going to be very good for you to watch the kids that are going to college this fall, okay? So don't miss this opportunity to congratulate, to wish, and pray for our students that are going in. If you're a mentor, we invite you to come because we cannot give enough blessing and the support to these children. They have gone through enough in their life to come out of those situations to go to college. And so it is our job to go there and encourage these kids to finish the 4-year college or 2-year trade school or a technical school. Okay, so we wanted to invite you. If you are interested in coming, you will, get an email with a link. It's a virtual session. You don't really need to come to a specific place. You can click on that link and you can watch what happens in that event. It's going to be next Saturday, which is the 31st of July at 10 a.m. So mark your calendar, July 31st, 10 a.m. We're going to let 11 of our new students that are going into college, and we will listen to how they got to this place, okay? Yes, Miss Sarah.
Just in case, I'm not sure, I think Alexis But if you have any questions, um, if I contact you and you can't get into this, into the rooms, if you just call me, because I sent my phone number, and I'll answer.
How to help you. They're the ones who will collect all the documents and get you to, to choose the right schools and everything. So I have Teresa. Teresa, why don't you turn your camera on? And Eric, if you can turn your camera on as well. Teresa, Eric, can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Very nice to meet you, Teresa. And Eric, we can see your head a little bit. Oh, fantastic. Nice to see you. So you don't want to see on the camera, huh? That's all right. Here's what we're going to do. First, before we get started, Matthew, is that what you go by, Matthew? Can you speak something so we can hear you? Do you go by Matthew?
This is Kayla.
Kayla. Okay, so you go by Kayla. So so sorry that I was referring to you as Matthew because that's the name I was seeing, Kayla. I'm glad that you're here. Tell us a little bit about what do you want to do when you get to college or in your career?
When I get to college, I want to study psychology.
Excellent. Can you tell us, Kayla, why you want to study psychology?
Because I like helping people.
Fantastic. Which grade are you in, Kayla, right now?
I'm going to ninth in August.
Fantastic. So you're a prime candidate for us to work with. I'm so glad that you're here with us. This is a perfect time for you to even listen to this conversation. So I'm so happy you're here. Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you want to do and which grade you're in.
Basically, I want to become an architect.
Architect.
Or a project manager.
Mm-hmm.
To that. And I'm a senior. It's about time.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So you're going to be senior this coming fall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the two people that you need to have a very close contact with are the two people that are in the line, Eric, Miss Renee and Miss Katina. Okay, so this is a great session for you. I know some of these you might have already done, so it will be good for you to just refresh yourself and get ready for this as well. And the last but not least, Teresa, tell us a little bit about yourself and which grade you're in.
Hi, so Teresa's my grandmother's name. I go by Lexi.
Oh, okay.
So nice to meet you.
Yes.
I was thinking about either doing photography or anything in IT because IT I just love. I love anything to do with electronics. I love to do. It's just fun for me.
Excellent. You are in a good place. We will connect you with Mr. Dale at some point, and Eric Standing as well. It is good that you're actually looking through this session today with us, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to have Miss Renee and Miss Katina to quickly tell us, who they are and what are they doing with the Proverbs 2-6. Miss Katina?
Hello, everyone. I'm Katina, and I am a family mentor or coach with Proverbs 2-6. So I mainly help kids that are getting ready to onboard into college. So I'm working with you in your senior year and making sure that you're taking all of the necessary placement tests and college prep courses to prepare yourself to apply for college. So I work with those type of children. So I would be working closely with mostly Eric or Lexi to make sure